Yo, we should be live. What is going on, guys? Back for our second call-in show. Got a lot of interesting things to talk about tonight. First college football playoff poll has come out. Yo, what's good, Drake? Welcome. Yeah, we got the first playoff poll out we can talk about. As always, you guys can call in. If you don't want to call in and you have a question, put it in the chat. We can talk about. I have a few things to talk about if we have a break from callers. Let me get my stuff out. Okay. Cincinnati got screwed over big time. Oh my gosh, I was so mad. I decided I gave in. I wasn't even going to watch the playoff rankings, like the reveal show, whatever, on ESPN. I was like, I already know it's going to be trash. It is every year. And I was like, all right, I got to find out. As soon as I seen them all come out, I was like, all right, I'm turning this crap off. I do not want to hear him tell me why Alabama deserves to be number 2. And that was ridiculous. I knew that was going to happen. I was talking on here last week on stream talking about how Alabama is still going to get in the top 4 over these undefeated teams. And I was on the money. I knew it was going to happen. They do this every year. They look into the future. They're like, they know that Oregon will probably take care of itself. They want Ohio State in there. I'm really sure that they want Ohio State in the top 4. It's just crazy that Cincinnati is at 6. So dumb. Where they have three 1-loss teams over Cincinnati. One thing I will give them credit for, since they put Wake at 9 or 8, they put Oklahoma at 7 or 8 right behind them. And I was very surprised by that, because I was saying in my rankings this week, like, if you're going to move Wake Forest down, you should move Oklahoma down, because neither one of them's played a top 25 opponent. So if that's your reasoning for Wake Forest not being up there in the top 6, top 5, then you got to move Oklahoma down too, because it's the same thing. And credit to them for that. That's the only thing I credit them for. Like, other things, like a 3-loss Mississippi State team. And I know Mississippi State just beat Kentucky at home, but, like, why are they ranked 17th as a 3-loss team? That makes 0 sense. I don't know. It's almost like the rankings, they just do whatever. They're not consistent every year. They value whatever it is that will get the teams they want in. And that's the truth. That's the truth. The teams that will make them the most money, that's the teams they want in. And I think it's horrible for the sport. This is why everyone wants a 12-team playoff. This is why there will be a 12-team playoff within the next 2 years. I have no doubts about it. There has to be a 12-team playoff, because this will keep happening. I think a 4-team playoff might be worse than the system that they had before the 4-team playoff, the BCS championship game, along with the 4 big bowl games, the Sugar, the Fiesta, the Rose, and the Orange Bowl. I think that system was better than this playoff system. But I think the best system will be a 12-team playoff, where if you win your conference, you are a lock. I think that's what it needs to be. We cannot leave it up to the committee to make all these picks. There has to be a thing where you can win your way in no matter what, because they will try to keep these teams out as much as they can. They don't want Wake Forest in the playoff. They don't want Cincinnati in the playoff. They want the teams in the playoff that will make them the most money, even though Wake Forest or Cincinnati might have earned their way into the playoff and be the most deserving team. That's not who they want in. So that's my takes on that. I'm not happy about the college football playoff rankings at all. I'm hoping enough stuff gets wild that Cincinnati will find a way in. I don't know if it's going to happen. I hope. But honestly, I think if Alabama loses to Georgia, say by a field goal or even a touchdown, and it was a close game and throughout the entire game, say they have a close game throughout the entire game in the SEC championship and Alabama loses by a field goal, I think that they would find a way to put a 2-loss Alabama team in the playoff. And I talked about this last stream, and I still stand by that. They will find a way. They'll say, oh, well, no one else has played Georgia this well. They got to get in. They're going to give them the best shot. And I don't know, man. Do you think the format I laid out last stream is the way to go? Oh, yeah, definitely. Me and you had the same thinking on that one, because I think you have to have at least some of it to where you can win your way in. Like, every Power 5 conference should be able... Every Power 5 conference champion should be a lock in the playoff. That's my opinion. Because that would make conference play a lot more meaningful. Make conference championship games really meaningful, considering the winner of it will go to the playoff as a lock. That's what I think. And it would be crazy. It would be crazy. I think it's the right move. I think you let those Power 5 teams, all the conference champion, get a lock. You have 5 teams. That leaves 7 spots you can leave up to the poll. Whatever. Do it that way. And then Cincinnati, UCF, these teams that have been good in Group of 5, had undefeated seasons, good seasons in the Group of 5 conferences. They're going to be joining the Big 12 here in a couple years, so that'll help a lot too. So. What else did I not like about the rankings? Man, there's a lot. Oregon is at 4. See, it shows me they value big wins, right? Like, Oregon beat Ohio State in Columbus, so they value big wins. But Cincinnati beat Notre Dame in South Bend. It was the first time Notre Dame lost in South Bend in like the past 30 games in South Bend. And they don't value that enough. They value Ohio State more as a one-loss team that hasn't played anyone really except for Oregon and Penn State. Yeah, I hate Oregon and Ohio State over Cincinnati. Cincinnati, if they would have put Cincinnati at 4, I would have been fine with that, because they made it in and then put Oregon at 5, Ohio State at 6. I think that would have been fine. I think I would have been okay with that. Realistically, Alabama should have probably been at 4, Cincy at 3, Michigan State at 2. That's what I think. Honestly, I think winners of Power 5 conferences and best group of 5 team is a lock for the rest of the poll R committee. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, best group of 5 team in all of college football, lock for the playoff. I like that too. Yep. Because that's kind of how they do it now. Best group of 5 team gets a lock into a New Year's Six bowl. Last year, Cincinnati played Georgia in the Peach Bowl. So it would make sense that if they do a lock system, that the best group of 5 team does make the playoff as well. That would make 6 teams locks and then have 6 teams that they can do a poll on. Since the poll is, it's interesting because as much as I hate it and as much as everyone hates it, it keeps it interesting because, you're never going to make everybody happy, but it's just terrible. It's just terrible. I don't like it at all. Last year, Cincinnati pushed Georgia to the limit. Exactly. That was one of the best bowl games all of last season. It was a great game. And Cincinnati, they got a ton of transfers this year. They've only gotten better. They really need a big game this weekend against Tulsa. If they blow out Tulsa, I'm hoping that they can shoot up the ranks a little bit. At least they need people to lose in front of them. Ohio State has a tough road ahead of them. I'm not too much of a believer in Oregon to win out. So the path is there. Ohio State, they really probably need Michigan State to beat Ohio State or Michigan. And then they need somebody in the Pac-12 to knock off Oregon, which I don't think is that crazy to think because the Pac-12 is so crazy. But we'll see. I don't really trust anyone in the Pac-12, so maybe Oregon can win out. But I just don't see. I think Oregon in the playoff is an easy win, especially if they're at 4 for Georgia. I think Georgia is going to eat Oregon alive. I don't think Georgia eats Cincinnati alive. I think that's a competitive game. I think Georgia would eat Oregon alive. I really do. I do not trust Anthony Brown to go up against that Georgia defense that has 11 NFL players on that defense. 11. All 11 starters for Georgia will probably get drafted. And that's crazy. It's an NFL defense. It really is. That defense is crazy. I really don't know if Cincinnati can get in. It's going to be tough. They're going to need a lot of teams to lose. It's going to have to get messy. And I'm hoping it does. I want to see a mess. I want to see Cincinnati get in. I do. But one good thing we can take away from this, if Cincinnati does go undefeated and they do not put them in, it will cause the committee, the college football, everyone to have to try to make a change into probably a 12-team playoff because it will cause outrage if Cincinnati does not make it as undefeated. And I think it's going to make it to where they have to change it soon. And that is one good thing I can take away from if Cincinnati doesn't make it. But I really want to see him make it, man. I want to see him play these top Power 5 teams. It's I don't know, man. I try to think that Cincinnati has a real shot, but I just try not to get my hopes up because I don't know. What would your 1 through 6 playoff ranking be right now? For me, Georgia, Michigan State, Cincinnati, Ohio State, Oregon, Wake, in that order. My 1 through 6, I would have Georgia, Michigan State, Cincinnati. I would actually have that same list as you, but give me Oregon and Ohio State flopped. I'll take Oregon at 4, Ohio State at 5, Wake at 6, Oklahoma at 7. Yeah, I like Georgia, Michigan State, Cincinnati, then Oregon. That would be mine right now. Just because I value, even though it was week 2, I think it was, I kind of value, like, Oregon did beat Ohio State head-to-head, and they do both have one loss, even though Oregon's loss is worse because Stanford is no good this year. We've seen them play a couple good games, and then they just kind of went downhill. But I would still have them at 4 right now because of that win. Or I could make a case for Wake or Oklahoma to be both ahead of Ohio State and Oregon, just because they are undefeated. But it's just tough because right now both of those teams haven't played anyone in the top they haven't played any top 25 teams, but they both are going to. Oklahoma is going to play their 3 hardest games, their 3 last games of the season. They have, I don't know what order, but they have Iowa State, Baylor, and Oklahoma State as their last 3 games. And then they'll have the Big 12 championship, or they'll probably have to play one of those 3 over again. So their last slate of games is going to be the toughest part of their schedule. And it's the same with Wake Forest. They're going to have to play NC State. They have North Carolina this weekend. Then they have NC State, Clemson, and Boston College. So those are pretty good teams. I think a win over Clemson will definitely get them respect. I think that game might be a road game too. Not for sure. NC State, I'm pretty sure they're ranked in the playoff top 25. So that could be a good booster for Wake Forest as well. You're thinking Oklahoma as well, but they've been letting games stay way too close. I completely agree. Like I said, their toughest slate of games is the last 3 of the season. And if they have another stinker and let one of these teams get close, they're going to lose one of these games. And I don't think a 1-loss Oklahoma team, even if it's a Big 12 champion, gets in. I don't think they do. They don't get in over Oregon, 1 loss. They don't. I hope to God they don't put them in over an undefeated Cincinnati as a 1 loss. But they could. I mean, the playoff, we've seen stuff. I wouldn't be surprised. They shouldn't get in as a 1 loss over undefeated Cincinnati, but they could do that. I would not be surprised if the committee did that, but yeah, we know who the top 7 is, really, but it's just really what order. And then at 8, I would have Michigan. I would have Michigan at 8, but we'll see. We'll see how they play against Ohio State. I'm excited for that game. I think it's at the Big House this year. Same thing happened last year when they put Notre Dame over Cincinnati. Yeah. It's crazy. And then this year they beat Notre Dame. And it's like Notre Dame is still ranked at 10 in the college football playoff poll? Like, Cincinnati went on the road and beat number 10, a 1-loss team to the date. And it's still not valued like as much, and it sucks that Cincinnati is definitely going to have to blow out Tulsa. They have to blow out SMU They have to blow out Houston if they play them in the AAC championship game. They have to blow these teams out in order to have a real shot. They need all the style points they can get. They're going to need Jerome Ford to rush for 4 touchdowns a game. Desmond Ridder to just be dotting them up. They need their defense. They need Kobe Bryant, Sauce Gardner. Get these turnovers. I mean, I'm a believer in the Bearcats. I'd feel so bad for the players if they end up not getting in, even if they go undefeated. Because they knew at the beginning of the year, Luke Fickell probably laid it all out for him, said, we have these 2 Power 5 conference games on the road. If we can beat them and win out, we'll be in the playoff. What'd they do? Went into Indiana, beat them handily. Went into Notre Dame, beat them pretty handily. And they're undefeated, and they're still not getting the respect, and it's crazy. Even last year, didn't they have a 2-loss Texas A&M team over Cincinnati in the final playoff rankings? Pretty sure they had a 2-loss Texas A&M team over Cincinnati. They need Sauce Gardner and Bryant to lock down and get 2 to 3 picks a game in the final stretch of games. Yeah, for real, man. And they've been playing great. I mean, it's probably the best corner duo in college football. There's probably some that are pretty good, maybe close, but in my opinion, definitely Sauce Gardner. I think they're both NFL players for sure. Yeah, 5 and 6. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Texas A&M was 5 since he was 6. See, yeah, crazy. It would not surprise me if a 2-loss Alabama team gets in over Cincinnati that's undefeated. And that's tough to hear, but it's just reality, and it sucks. Yeah, Sauce at the Bengals would be nice. I'm really hoping that the Giants draft a quarterback, but I'm not really sure what quarterback in the draft is going to be the best this year. Could be Carson Strong out in Nevada. It could be Matt Corral. Matt Corral looks pretty good. I'm not sure how he'll do in the NFL, really. So it's going to be interesting. It's not a great year for quarterbacks in the draft, but I don't know. I feel like the Giants, I'm so tired of them. The Bengals are turning things around this year. They're having a pretty good year, although they did lose to the Jets this past weekend. But yeah, they're still having a good year. Are they tied with the Ravens for top of the AFC North right now? Strong or Ritter? Yeah, I could see it. I mean, even Kenny Pickett is sneaking up boards from what I've seen. I like Kenny Pickett. But I don't know if I want Kenny Pickett for the Giants just because he reminds me too much of Daniel Jones. Like, just the way he looks. Like, not his play style, but just the way he looks. Like, I don't know if I can take another number 8. Like, he's number 8. DJ's number 8. They kind of look similar. They're tall, kind of slim. I don't know. Just gives me bad memories, I guess, of drafting a quarterback. But yeah, I like Kenny Pickett. I like Kenny Pickett a lot. Matt Corral, Carson Strong, Ritter. There's got to be the top 4, right? I don't think I'm missing anybody else. I mean, Rattler's got to be out the window. He's not going to the draft. He's probably going to transfer somewhere. I wonder where Spencer Rattler is going to transfer to, right? What do you guys think are the top options for Rattler to transfer to? Because Caleb Williams has that job. He's been playing outstanding. It's been rumored that he might go back west where he's from. Arizona State's been tossed out there, but how many years of eligibility does Jaden Daniels still have there? Somewhere out west he could go. I mean, I'm not sure. I feel like it's probably going to be somewhere out west. How much do you think Kentucky losing to Mississippi State is going to shake their confidence? See, I'm worried about Will Levis because Will Levis has not been playing like he was at the beginning of the year. I don't know if defenses just started figuring him out or if he's just having a bad couple of games. But yeah, I think the problem with Kentucky right now is Will Levis. He needs to get it back together. They need to switch up the game plan because I think teams have figured it out and they need to switch it up. It's going to be a good game against Tennessee this week. Honestly, I think is probably going to be one of the closer games of the week. Yeah, I think Will Levis's confidence is really what I would worry about. If he can somehow start to get that back, like maybe get a first drive going, throw a touchdown pass, run in one, do something. I mean, he's just turned the ball over a couple times the last few games, and he needs to get his confidence back for sure. But I've heard USC from a few of my friends that follow college football hardcore. I could see USC. I know they have Keaton Slovis there. I don't think he's going to enter the draft this year considering the season he's having. They have Jackson Dart, who's freshman or sophomore, who's come in and played. He's looked pretty good. Not sure how good he'll be, but yeah, I think if USC can get Rattler, they probably would. Especially they're going to have a new coach come in. And so these guys that are there now, Slovis, Dart, they're not going to be the new coach's recruits. So yeah, they could definitely bring in Rattler. It's a big time brand school, so I mean, if that's what he wants in the West Coast, that's definitely what he could go for. UCLA could be interesting for Rattler. I mean, what's his name? Their quarterback they have now, really good. I like him a lot. But I'm pretty sure he's a senior this year. This could be is probably his last year. I'm so confused about the eligibility for players this year just because the COVID year last year and then everybody gets an extra year. Not sure who's a fourth-year senior and who's a fifth-year senior. So, but yeah, I could also see a school like Texas getting him. Man, would that be a blow in the balls right to Oklahoma if he went right down south to Austin. That would be crazy. The money I'd pay to see a Caleb Williams versus Spencer Rattler Red River rivalry. That would be awesome. That would be awesome. I would love to see it. That's a huge story. Yo, what's up, Mike? Thoughts on the Wake North Carolina game? I still believe in Wake. I like their offense enough. I don't like North Carolina's defense because I'm not even big on Notre Dame. Notre Dame, they put up some points. Like, they put up 30 against Florida State, I'm pretty sure. But they usually keep it pretty low scoring. But on North Carolina, I'm pretty sure they hit 40 points. And that kind of shows me North Carolina's defense isn't that good. I think Wake's offensively at least, is better than Notre Dame. So, getting a call in here. Yo, what's up? You're on with Danny.
Luke.
Yo, what's up?
Just wanted to say, go Aggies.
Hell yeah.
Yep.
You're Texas
Go
A&M
Aggies.
Aggies?
Yep.
All right.
No. Utah State, man.
Wait, who?
Utah State.
Oh, Utah State. All right, gotcha.
No. I'm an A&M fan, and I was wondering what you what's your opinions on the game this weekend?
Definitely the best game of the weekend, I think, versus Auburn.
Yeah. It's,
Yeah.
college game, but
that's
really
definitely a tough one to pick. I'm not sure. Zach Calzada and Bo Nix, they both looked better. So it's going to be a tough one. I kind of like Texas A&M. I think this is the second best defense Auburn is going to see this year, just behind Georgia. Texas A&M's defense is great. So we'll see how Bo Nix does, because he's been playing pretty good, been able to run around against teams like LSU, but he wasn't doing that against Georgia. So we'll see if he can do that against Texas A&M, and it's going to be in College Station as well, so that might be tough for them.
Yeah, you think it's fair to say that Texas A&M and Georgia, although Texas A&M is not, although we're not even half as good as Georgia, I feel like it's fair to say that both teams share a lot of similarities with each other. Very strong up front. I mean, Georgia probably has the best offensive line and the best defensive line, and we probably have the second best in both of those.
Yeah, I'd say as far as the front seven, Texas A&M would definitely be, unless I'm forgetting someone, would probably be the second best defensively on the front seven. So I'd say very similar.
Yeah, because Alabama is a poverty roster.
Alabama is?
Yeah, but
I mean, I've said that I think this is one of Saban's.
Since we beat Alabama, I've been just joking, saying that they've got a poverty defense.
Yeah, I mean, it's still a good defense for Alabama, but it's definitely one of Saban's not so great defenses as far as his tendon and Bama. So
it's kind of crazy. Look at, like, we've all been saying like the whole season how Alabama's trash, like they suck. But
that Florida win doesn't look very good anymore. Florida's been going downhill.
They suck. They're still, honestly, if I was like putting every single penny I owned on Alabama playing any other team in the country, there's only like maybe two teams that I would actually pick to beat them right now.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, that is Georgia, and I might pick Michigan State.
See, I don't even know I don't know if I would take Michigan State on a neutral field versus Alabama. See, it's tough.
Yeah, see, it's still crazy because everybody's so mad about the playoff rankings, about how Alabama's number 2. I get that they don't deserve it, but, like, I mean, you just have to understand, like, if you were betting your last dollar on Alabama and some other team, the only team you're picking to actually beat them is Georgia.
Yeah, I agree with that, but my thing about that is I think as far as deserving, like, you should have to win your games to get in. Like, even though they still might be talent-wise and eye test-wise the second best team in the country, they should have handled their business and be undefeated right now if they wanted that number 2 spot.
See, the thing is, they'll get a chance to prove that.
Yeah.
I mean, they're either going to be in the playoff or they're not going to be in the playoff. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
they have to win out.
I think if
It's pretty.
Alabama, I was talking about this earlier. If Alabama loses to Georgia, say by a last-second field goal or by a touchdown, maybe they still might put a 2-loss Alabama team in the playoff.
I see. I don't
I think they
would
could because they could look at it as this is the best anyone has played against Georgia, and who else is going to give them a run for their money?
I have a really hard time with that. Just because they would have a second loss.
Yeah,
First
I don't.
of all, the playoff never put they've never put a conference championship loser into the playoff. First off, they've never put a 2-loss team in the playoff. Of course, if they ever were to do that, it would be Alabama.
Yeah.
Of course, because they do deserve that. Because of their historical, they've just proven to always be but what's the team that you can always rely on?
Yeah.
It's Alabama.
See, I'm not saying they should do it. I'm just saying it could definitely happen.
Yeah, but they in just the fact that if Alabama, here's another really good point. I think that this is a good point why I think that this would never happen. Let's say that Georgia beats Alabama by a field goal, or like a last-second Hail Mary, and Georgia has a miraculous win, where Alabama kind of looks like they might have even been the better team than Georgia.
Yep.
But Alabama still loses.
Exactly.
Well, that means that the lowest that Alabama, the highest that you could put Alabama is 4. But guess who's going to be number 1? That's Georgia. So you would have 1 versus 4 in the playoff semifinal. That would literally be a rematch, back to back. There's no way they would actually do that.
Yeah, I don't think they should ever do that, but it's just it could definitely happen. Like, I could see it happen. I want to see Cincinnati get in really bad. I want to see them win out, find a way to get in. But after seeing these first rankings, I don't think that that's going to happen. So I kind of let my hopes go down on that.
You want to see Cincinnati get into the playoff? I know I'm not the only one that kind of wants to see them get in just to get boat raced.
I don't think that they get boat raced. I mean, I think they at least keep it somewhat competitive. I mean, they got a solid team. They beat Notre Dame on the road. That was Notre Dame's first loss in South Bend in a couple years. And they beat them by a couple scores, too. Yeah,
I know. Maybe I'm underrating them a little bit. I have watched some Cincinnati.
Because
this not a whole lot.
If you remember last year in the Peach Bowl, they only lost to Georgia by, a field goal, last-second field goal in the bowl game.
Well,
of course, this Georgia team is way better than last year's Georgia team. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying after that loss to Georgia in the Peach Bowl last year, they got transfers from Alabama in the transfer portal and transfers from other big schools. So they definitely have some talent.
Yeah.
And Luke Fickell's a hell of a coach. He's really transformed that program.
Cincinnati is mostly a 3-star roster. And, credit to them for, performing at a very high level under Luke Fickell. I mean, he's a great coach. He's great at player development and everything across the board.
He's gonna get a better job if he wants it.
And but the problem is that just like Kirby Smart said after the Florida game, he said that you can't beat recruiting. You can't. A good coach, good coaching is 25% of what matters, and I do believe that. I do think that Kirby is maybe not the best game day coach, but
he's a great recruiter.
he's a great recruiter. That's why they're always there.
And I do believe, I mean, I think Georgia's defense, I believe at least 10 of their 11 starters on defense are going to be drafted this year.
You said Cincinnati or Georgia?
No, Georgia's defense.
Yeah,
10 out of 11 of their starting defensive players will be drafted. Whether it's round 1 or round 7, they'll be drafted.
Yeah, I mean, Georgia has 2 of like the 3 best linebackers. Yeah, I mean, I don't even know what their weakest unit is. You could say their secondary, but
their secondary's
hasn't been tested yet, really.
Yeah, their secondary, I mean, I'm not saying that this is Georgia's flaw. The only thing that you could even remotely knock them for, and that's only because it's not been tested, is they have not gone against a team with like a top quarterback that can air it out deep into their secondary.
Yeah.
But
which is why
I don't think that they're going to be playing a quarterback like that all year. I mean, Bryce Young's probably going to be the best one that they can do. And even when he played against Texas A&M, he looked rattled under pressure. Bryce Young did. So I don't know how he'll do against Georgia.
I kind of wish that the Auburn didn't get their, didn't reschedule, the Georgia game. You know, they used to play Georgia, in mid-November, I think. Late in the season. I feel like them playing Bo Nix later in the season, here, around this time of the season, might have been a lot more difficult for them because of how much he's improved.
Yeah, I would agree. I don't know how much Bo Nix really improved. I mean, he's been playing well. He definitely improved, but he hasn't been playing any elite defenses. I mean, good teams, Ole Miss, Arkansas, but their defense isn't anything crazy. They're offensive teams.
Yeah. Which is why I think we do beat Auburn this weekend. Just because.
But yeah, you could say the same thing about Zach Calzada. I mean, Mizzou and South Carolina are not the best defenses, but he did perform against Bama. I will say that.
Besides all those drop passes, I am kind of Auburn. I watched the Auburn-Georgia game, and Auburn did kind of move the ball on Georgia quite a bit, except for when they were dropping balls all over the place. That I don't know what that was. They probably dropped 10 passes that game. That was terrible. But besides when that happened, they were moving the ball pretty good on Georgia.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Well, anyway, that's about all I got.
All right, thanks for calling, man. I appreciate it.
I'm about to play Call of Duty Vanguard and
hell yeah, man.
Chill out. Yeah. All right. Well, you take it easy.
You too, man. Thanks for calling.
All right, see you.
All right. Thank you for calling. Mike, I got to get through all your comments here. Deeks need Auburn to win. Hold on, let me see here. I didn't get to finish giving you my thoughts about Wake UNC. Like I said, Wake's offense, really good. UNC defense, kind of suspect, letting Notre Dame put up 40 on them, but it is going to be in Chapel Hill. I'm pretty sure, is it their homecoming game? I think I heard that. It's going to be crazy. Sam Howell, even though he struggled a little bit this year, he he's still a good quarterback, and he could put up the thing. But it's going to be Sam versus Sam. I mean, Sam Hartman's been balling up this year, and he's got to continue that and put up these points. Wake's defense has to get some stops, maybe force a turnover, and I think Wake can go into Chapel and come out with the victory for sure. Yo, what's up, James? You got a question? What you got, man? I'm just reading all your comments, Mike. 2-loss Bama should never be in. Yep, I agree. Still could happen, but I agree. They should not get in if they lose to Georgia. Wake would handle Cincy. Wake be A&M in 2019. You don't think Kirby can get it done? You don't think they'll win the championship this year? I mean, Georgia's definitely the favorite. There just hasn't. I mean, like I was saying on the call, if you were to pick out a weakness in Georgia's defense, it would be to throw the deep ball and try to hit the secondary before the pass rush gets to you. And I just don't know if they're going to play an opponent with a top quarterback. There's no Deshaun Watsons. There's no Trevor Lawrences. There's no Justin Fields this year. There's not that guy that's going to be able to do that that Georgia's going to play, like the superstar player that's going to be able to dime it downfield on Georgia's defense. I just don't know. I mean, if you were to point out any weakness on this team, it's hard too, because they're very good. But if you were to pick a weakness, that would have to be it. You think Georgia's weakness is their secondary, but I think their front seven gets enough pressure to mask that weakness. I completely agree. Also, to mask that weakness is, I mean, Sam, like Mike said, Sam Hartman entered the chat. Is Sam Hartman the top quarterback that can air it out on Georgia's defense? I'm not sure. I mean, they have to get to the playoff first to prove that. Hopefully Wake can do it. Got NC this week. Got Clemson. Got NC State. If y'all win out, I think you guys got to be a lock for the playoff. So, Michigan State moneyline versus Purdue, is that good? Let me look it up real quick because I'm not for sure the numbers on it, but let me look it up and I'll let you know. Michigan State moneyline. All right, so the spread is -3 Michigan State. I think taking Michigan State to lay out those 3 points is definitely good to take. To straight out win -149. I would take it. I don't think Purdue is gonna have another spoiler maker like they did against Iowa. Like, I don't think that they're gonna spoil Michigan State's season. The over-under is 54 points, my bad. If I was to bet the over-under on the team total there, 54. Dang. That's a tricky one. I maybe take the under in the team total of 54 points. That's a team total for both teams, so... yeah, I would say you're on the right side of that one, James. I like Michigan State to win, so I'd take that money line. Yeah, but we can talk about other top quarterbacks that could potentially be facing Georgia in the playoff. I mean, let's go through the teams. So, number 2, Alabama, Bryce Young. Like I was talking about, Bryce Young is a really good quarterback. He can air it downfield, but is he going to be able to do that against Georgia? We've seen he struggled a little bit against Texas A&M, and Texas A&M put a lot of pressure on him, and he kind of got phased a little bit. So we'll see. Number 3, Michigan State. Peyton Thorne, a decent quarterback, probably one of the better quarterbacks in the Big Ten, although the Big Ten doesn't have very many good quarterbacks this year. Their game is in the run game, man. With Kenneth Walker III, I don't like the matchup against Georgia for Michigan State. So I don't think that they can air it downfield on them. Number 4, Oregon, Anthony Brown. I'm just going to straight up say no. Anthony Brown is not going to be able to air the ball downfield on Georgia. Number 5, Ohio State, C.J. Stroud. Yeah, C.J. Stroud has looked really good, but he's a freshman. He hasn't gone up against an elite defense yet. So we'll see. And after that, go on to Caleb Williams. Kind of similar to C.J. Stroud when you say he's a freshman. Hasn't really gone up against any elite defenses yet, so hard to tell. You like the Clemson money line on Louisville also. Yeah, I would probably take Clemson on that one for sure. You like Navy money line over Notre Dame. I gotta look up that. Oh yeah, Desmond Ridder. I would say Desmond Ridder definitely probably the one of the top quarterbacks. I would say honestly, Ridder and Bryce Young, probably I would be the most comfortable with against Georgia at quarterback. And out of these 4 guys that I believe would have a shot at airing the ball down on Georgia, being Ridder, Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, Caleb Williams, Ridder is the only one there who's not a first-year starter. So you're going to need some experience, like we've seen Bryce Young got rattled against Texas A&M a little bit. So rocking the Marshall shirt right now. Let's go Thundering Herd, baby. Sounds like they're going to swap conferences from the Conference USA to the Sun Belt Conference. I cannot wait to see Marshall go up against App State every year, go up against Coastal Carolina. It's going to be fun. It's not official yet, but it's heading that way. Marshall will probably be in the Sun Belt. We can talk about some more money lines, or I kind of talked about in my videos my favorite bets of the week. I really like Baylor minus 6.5. If you can still get it at minus 6.5, I think Baylor blows out TCU. They just fired Gary Patterson. Their defense is terrible. TCU's defense is terrible. I think they're definitely winning by a touchdown, probably 3 touchdowns. I'd have to look up a couple more to find my other favorite bets of the week. But yo, what's up, Chris? Baylor fire. Baylor's underrated. Baylor's underrated. I'm a WVU fan, and we went down into Waco and got blasted. So, Sun Belt is a sneaky, fun conference to watch. Yes, sir. That's why I'm excited for Marshall to get in there, man. It's going to be fun. I think after all the realignment's done, the Sun Belt is going to be the best Group of 5 conference. It's got to be. I think the Sun Belt is going to be better than the AAC. When Cincinnati, UCF, Houston leave for the Big 12, those three are leaving for the Big 12, and it's also rumored Memphis is going to join the Big 12 here soon too. So if Memphis leaves the AAC, it's looking like the Sun Belt is going to be the best Group of 5 conference. TCU, Blues, yes, they're terrible. If Cincinnati was in the Big 12, do you think they'd get in this year? I think, yeah, if you go undefeated in the Big 12, they would definitely get in 100%. I think they still have a... See, I don't want to put false hope in my mind, but the hope is just there so much. Like, I want it to happen so bad, it just will not go away. They still have a chance to get in this year. I think if they go undefeated, they need some chaos to happen, but they can get in. For sure. I really want Cincy to get in the playoff this year. I want Wake to finish 12-0, but I don't think people will give them a chance. I give them a chance, man. I like Wake's offense. Their defense has been not the best at times, but they need to step up for this final stretch, because the final stretch is going to be the most important part of your season. It's going to be the hardest part of your schedule for the Deeks. So yeah, you gotta show up against Clemson and still put that's the best defense that Wake will face this year is Clemson's defense. Gotta keep airing it out and putting up points when you go up against Clemson. NC State, I think that's going to be a very close game. So if Cincy was in the Big 12, they wouldn't be undefeated. You don't think so? The Big 12 has been iffy this year. I mean, I don't know. I think obviously Oklahoma, Baylor, Oklahoma State would all give Cincy a good game. But yeah, I'm excited for Cincinnati to be in the Big 12. Finally get another East Coast team in here, because I'm a West Virginia fan and we're all by ourselves over here. So I'm hoping Memphis gets in too. We can have Memphis and Cincy over here east with us. And we're going to have Central Florida. I guess they're east technically, even though they're down south. The thing about Cincy is they look too big, too fast, too physical, all this stuff. But I don't know if they will look like that compared to the elite teams. I hope they prove people wrong, though. Yeah, I'm with you. I hope they prove people wrong. I hope they get in there. And like I was talking about, they have these transfers this year. I mean, they went toe-to-toe with Georgia in the Peach Bowl last year. Georgia's gotten a lot better since last year. Don't get me wrong. But they did go toe-to-toe with Georgia last year, and they did get these top transfers out of the portal. They got Jerome Ford, who's a transfer from Alabama. They have some other players who are transfers from these big schools that were former 4- or 5-star recruits. And I think that they can give these top teams at least a run for their money. I think the rank and file of the Big 12 beats the AAC in your opinion. Wait. I think the rank and file of Big 12. Yeah, the Big 12 is better than the AAC this year, hands down. 100%. It would be harder competition for Cincinnati, but I wouldn't rule them out on going undefeated. I think they would probably get a loss in there, at least one, but I think they're still a good team. They're a really great team, and I'm cheering for them. Yes, sir. Country roads, baby. We got Oklahoma State coming to town again. I'm super hyped for the Mounties this weekend because second-ranked opponent in a row coming to Morgantown. I was at the last game. It was a loud crowd. Knocked off Iowa State. Now Mike Gundy and the crew's coming in at number 11 in the playoff poll. We're ready to beat them too and get our third win in a row, our second win against a ranked opponent in a row. The crowd's going to be bumping. I already know. Oh yeah, they owned us in that bowl game. They just deserved to win, but I was happy. I was obviously happy that the Dogs won. Yeah. I mean, yeah, they played great. I mean, the Dogs are much better than last year. But yeah. Cincinnati definitely gave Georgia a big run for their money last year in the Peach Bowl. Yo, what's up, Larry? I don't know how much we can count bowl games. Too many NFL players that make the team don't play. Know how much we can count bowl games. Yeah, okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, last few years, teams, players that were going to the draft, did not want to play in the bowl game. If it wasn't a playoff game, they weren't even going to mess with it. Even if it is a Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, which is a New Year's 6 bowl game, they just did not want to risk the injury. They just wanted to head into the draft. So, yeah, I completely agree with you. I'm not sure how many players on Georgia last year sat out to go to the NFL, but I'm sure it was a good bit. At least a couple for sure. You're pumped for that game too? Man, I cannot wait. I was actually planning on going to this game as well, but I'm not going to be going to this one. I was at Iowa State, or I was at the game against Iowa State last week, and it was loud. I mean, we all know Morgantown's a tough place to play. But when I tell you, like, the student section was not even filled up. Like, we were 3-4 before we beat Iowa State. We're 4-4 now. So, our fans were like, oh, we're 3-4, and we're going to be lucky to make a bowl game this year. We weren't even that pumped up, but then we still got loud. But now we got another ranked opponent coming into town the very next week. This student section is going to be full. It's going to be bumping. It's going to be louder than last week. And it's a later kickoff time. This week it's at 3:30. Last week it was at 2. It's going to be loud. We haven't beat Oklahoma State since 7 years ago. Oklahoma State beat WVU 6 years in a row. And that has to end Saturday. Let's go. I'm getting pumped up. We got to do it. Bowl games have become preseason games. Yeah, for the NFL players that are getting drafted, yeah, definitely. Georgia top pass rusher has been suspended, by the way. Kind of sucks for us, but next man up. I mean, the good thing for Georgia is they got a lot of great players on that defense, and I'm sure that even though one pass rusher could be out, top guy, another man will step up because that whole front seven is crazy good and going to be in the NFL. So, yeah, they're still going to be good. I wouldn't worry about that too much, especially going up against who Georgia plays Missouri this week. Going to be a slaughter. Mizzou's defense is probably the worst defense in the SEC. I mean, you could argue Vandy's, but it's Vandy. Probably second only behind the Wake UNC game. WV games are always entertaining regardless of the outcome. Yeah, that's one thing. I mean, they love to give me heart attacks and make it close. That's one thing they know how to do for sure. By the way, your sister lives in Parkersburg. Not very happy about it, but hey, it could be worse, I guess. I mean, Parkersburg, man, it's probably 2 hours from me, but I've never been to Parkersburg. I've been to Huntington. Huntington's not too far from Parkersburg, so Huntington, baby. Marshall University. Crazy that UNC is favorited in that game. Yeah, I mean, that's what I was talking about, and I think Wake Forest plus 2.5 is the right side of that bet, but it is in Chapel Hill. I think it's their homecoming game, so it's going to be crazy. I mean, Chapel Hill is a basketball school, of course, but their fans, if they're having a good year in football, I mean, they're not having the best year in football, no, by no means, but they had high expectations going into the season, and they have a top 10 opponent coming into town. They're gonna be excited. So I definitely see it, but that just goes to see how everyone, including Vegas, looks at Wake Forest, and it's just they're underrated. They're underrated. I mean, everyone says they haven't played anyone. Well, I hope they beat the crap out of North Carolina. To be honest, I'd love to see it. I got a good bit of a couple Wake Forest fans, especially my man Mike in the chat, sub to this channel. So I like to cheer for my subscribers' teams. I like to see them do well. Utah Ute fan here, by the way. Yo, that's awesome, man. I think Utah probably is looking like the favorite in the Pac-12 South right now. But the Pac-12 is crazy. You never know about the Pac-12 right now. So, if I had to make a prediction right now, I'd say Oregon, Utah, in the Pac-12 championship. So. We got a lot of viewers in here, so I just want to thank everyone for coming in. It's been a really great stream. We're going to keep doing this every week, same day, same time, every Thursday night from 10:30 to midnight. So, favorite in the South, we are young, a year or two away. We got another caller coming in here. Yo, what's up? You're on with Danny.
Hey, Danny, it's Drew. How you doing?
How you doing, man? I'm doing great.
Good. So I see some stuff in the chat and about Wake Forest, and I had no idea about the homecoming thing.
Yeah, it's a late homecoming, but I'm pretty sure it's homecoming in Chapel Hill.
It makes me more nervous about the game, honestly. I'm still with you. I think Wake, I'm gonna bet on them. I think they're gonna win, but it's almost like it seems like a trap. I'm not gonna lie.
Honestly, I'm not sure what the over under is for the total points in the game, but the best bet might be the over, because there's going to be a lot of points put up in this game. I don't believe in either one of these defenses as of right now.
Oh, I totally agree, but I think Wake can hang 50 on them, no problem.
Yeah, and I think North Carolina could put up a good 35, 38. So, I don't know what the over-under is for the team total, but if it's anywhere under 70, I might take the over, which is crazy, but yeah.
I think they'll pull it out, though. I mean, obviously, I'm a Deke supporter, if you will, so...
Yeah,
but even objectively, I think they'll do it.
Yeah, I mean, I've supported the Deeks this year a lot because a lot of my subs are Deeks fans, so I kind of cheer for him.
Yeah, definitely. And honestly, in a way, Danny, I don't know if you've thought about this or even noticed this, but the college football committee, their poll, in a way, it mirrored yours. It was different, but they at least were consistent with your logic in the sense of, because I think you I forget. I think I read a comment, but you said something along the lines of you need to keep Oklahoma and Wake together. So
Yeah.
either like
Neither of them
both
have played a top
top
25 opponent all year.
yeah. So either like they're both around 5-6, or they're both around like 8-9.
Yeah.
Which I thought it was funny because that's kind of what the committee came out with. So
Yeah, I was surprised whenever I was watching it live that I seen Oklahoma pop up right after Wake. I was like, oh, okay. But because I
Makes
thought
sense,
they were going to
though.
put Wake down there and then put Oklahoma up in the top 6.
I
really
will
did.
say though, I was very happy that Notre Dame was because all right, Notre Dame's a good football team for sure. Like, and yes, they have a quote unquote good loss, but I don't know. I just to me
Well,
they should clearly be behind Wake, so I was happy about that.
yeah, they definitely, if they put Notre Dame ahead of Wake and then still had Cincinnati at 6, that would have been really
Just
really
bullshit.
dumb.
Yeah.
I just don't like Cincinnati at 6 because, I mean, you're saying Notre Dame still, what, they have them at 10 or maybe 11? I'm not sure exactly.
10.
Yeah, they have them at 10. So Cincinnati went on a road, beat a top 10 team by, what, 2 scores? And
Yep.
they're just not getting rewarded for that at all. And I think Indiana having a bad season is really hurting Cincinnati this year. Because
I
Indiana
think
was
that's the
good
case.
last year, and they scheduled that game expecting Indiana to have another good year. So they'd have another win on their resume.
No, exactly, and I think that's kind of the point. Is in fairness to Cincinnati, they went out of their way. Like in retrospect, Indiana's not great, but their point was like we're trying to schedule good, legit
Yeah.
out of conference.
I mean, they didn't
opponents,
know
so.
Indiana was only going to go 2-6 at this point whenever they finished ranked last year.
Yeah.
And I was,
All right, so Danny, I have a question for you.
yeah, what's up?
I know you're a fan, so it might make it kind of hard, but this West Virginia game coming up. So I'm going to watch the Deep game, so I'm in Central Time. So my kickoff is 11 o'clock, but then the next one would be 2:30. So should I bet on the Mountaineers? What are you thinking?
What's the line? Is it still plus 3.5 WVU?
I think so. That's why
I could
probably get
see-
it. Although, what do you think about the money? I love a good money line,
I think
even if it's more risky.
if you're gonna bet at only 3.5, you go for broke and go for the money line on this one. But like I was
I
talking
tend to agree
about,
with that.
not sure if you were in here, but I was at the Iowa State game, and the student section was about 40% full because we were 3-4, but coming off of a top 25 win, we're back at even 4-4. We got another ranked team coming into town back-to-back weeks, a higher ranked team, and it's also a team we haven't beat in 6 years. Oklahoma State has owned us and beat us the past 6 years. And I think the student section's going to be more full. It's going to be full. It's going to be a sellout crowd. I mean, and we were loud last week. It's going to be loud this week. I like our chances, but, I'm a homer. So you can take.
Damn, Dan,
you can take.
You're hyping me up for this game. I'm pumped for it.
I've been hyping
Like I
myself
said, I
up
think
all
that's my
week.
schedule.
I've been so
I think
excited.
it's going to be Wake, then West Virginia.
Yeah.
That's my schedule Saturday right now.
And then I hope the Auburn Texas A&M game is a night game. I don't want to miss that game, but I'm hoping it's a 7
I think
o'clock.
it is. Hold on, I can tell you in like 1 sec. I assume it. I guess it could be a 3:30, but that would be kind of dumb, right?
Yeah. Hopefully it's a night game.
Then that would be like the trifecta. I don't know, man. I'm pretty confident, but I think. I don't know if you remember, but I called in a while or the other weekend. I'm from Maryland originally, so I have a lot of friends that went to WVU, and I know how it can get rowdy. So I don't know. I'm pretty confident about it. I think they
Definitely
can pull it off.
one of the harder places to play, and it's gonna be a good crowd. I mean, it was a good crowd last week, and like I said, the student section was about 40% full. I was there.
Damn, Danny, it's 2:30 my time, 3:30 back east. So for the Auburn game,
Same time as the WVU game. Well, I'll be score checking
Guess
it.
we got to get 2 screens, you know.
Yeah. I'll be having my laptop out and my TV, watching both.
That's the move.
Yeah.
All right, man. I'll let you go. I just wanted to say what's up, talk a little bit about the Deeks, and like I said, you kind of got me excited about this Mountaineer game now. I'm looking forward to it.
I mean, I don't want to be responsible for you losing money. Like I said, I'm a homer, so take what you will from that.
Oh, no. That's fine.
Yeah, take what you will from that. I'm a homer.
That's all that matters.
I'm a proud homer. So.
Well, I'm a Deke homer, and I'm about to put a bunch of money on them. So we'll see how it works out, Denny. All right, I'll talk to you later.
All right, thanks for calling, man. See you. All right. Got a lot of things to read about in the chat here. Let me see. Where did I leave off at? Oregon always finds a way to lose a conference game. It's the funniest thing ever. Yep. Like I say, like everyone says, it's not me. I mean, the Pac-12 kills each other. And that's why Oregon's the only Pac-12 team that has made the playoffs since it became a thing in 2014, I'm pretty sure. And the Pac-12 kills each other year after year. And Oregon is just always has that loss. I mean, they lost to Stanford this year. I mean, Stanford looks not too good now. So, but my Cats started so hot. Then Georgia came along. I definitely had to think Georgia got into Levis's head. I mean, yeah. They've been saying that, I mean, like I talked about, I mean, that is an NFL defense that he had to go against. And I think it really hurt his confidence because he did not look the same against Mississippi State either. So, yeah, it's definitely tough. Being a Pac fan is hard. I bet. All right. You think Bama loses one close game to Georgia, Oregon losing 2 more games, Cincy gets a loss, and Baylor wins out. Wow. Baylor winning out is a bold prediction. Do you think Baylor is going to get in the playoff as a one-loss Big 12 champion? I think they probably would. I think Baylor's underrated. The only thing, I'm not too sure about Baylor on defense. Not sure about Baylor on defense. Their offense is really good. SMU or Houston get Cincy. I could see it. You think Baylor would get in as a one loss and give us a rematch in the Sugar Bowl so we can put them in the ground again? Bro. I mean, yeah, I honestly, if Baylor gets in at 4 and plays Georgia, I do not like Baylor's chances at all. Yeah, not in the Sugar Bowl, but rematch of the Sugar Bowl from years back. Yeah, I got you. Yeah, I think if Baylor gets fed to Georgia in a 1-4 seed, it would not be pretty. It would not be pretty. I like Baylor's offense, but I don't think they move the ball too well against Georgia. And then Baylor's defense, Georgia does the same thing every week. And at that point, they might have JT Daniels back. Who knows who's going to be the starter, him or Stetson Bennett. But Georgia tells you straight up, we are going to run the ball down your throat, and there is nothing you can do about it. And there really would be nothing that Baylor could do about it. It's really not. Nobody but Ohio State or Bama have a chance against Georgia. Yeah. It's kind of looking that way. We're going to see how Bama does. I mean, assuming they win out and until the SEC championship, it's going to be a big Iron Bowl matchup, though. No matter what. I mean, Bama lost in Auburn the past 2 times. I think in 2019 and 2017. So, Bama is on a 2-game losing streak in Auburn. Ohio State scares me, but I'm not. Ohio State is probably, I would like to say, the best offense in the country. Just because there's receivers, man, too. Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave are a beast. Absolute beast. And then CJ Stroud is really coming along. Travion Henderson. Such a beast. I mean, but defensively, Ohio State, this is definitely the worst defensive Ohio State team in the past few years. They're not terrible on defense, but because, they get the recruits, but yeah, Ohio State, yep, like Larry just said, popped up there. Ohio State average defense. I mean, Oregon held them without Thibodeau to 28 in the shoe. That is true, but I do think Ohio State has improved a lot since that Oregon game, but I still do not believe in Ohio State defense to be championship status. So, I think they have a decent defense. Don't think it's championship status defense. So, alright, it's almost midnight, so I'm going to kind of wrap things up and end the stream here in a couple minutes. So if anyone has any last minute questions you want me to answer before I end the stream, then let me know down here in the chat. I want to play Ohio State, and I want Stroud to pass with all the pressure he would have, be running for his life half the game. Ohio State probably has a good, they have a good offensive line, but yeah, Stroud's gonna have to be. He's not a scrambling quarterback either. I mean, Stroud can create time. He's by no means slow and a statue in the pocket, but he doesn't take off and run very often. So, at least past the line of scrimmage. Question, streaming next, same time, same day, every week, every Thursday night from 10:30 to midnight. I will be streaming every week, Thursday. Improved or played lesser competition? Yeah, you make a good point. They haven't really played much competition since Oregon. I'd say they improved for sure. Played lesser competition for sure. I'd say yes to both. The question is, how much have they improved? Because I said they improved. Sound like they improved a lot, and I meant it. But how much have they really improved? We'll see. We'll find out, I guess, against Michigan State, Michigan, and assuming they make the college football playoff, we'll definitely find out then how much they improved since the Oregon game. So, yeah. Yep, same time every Thursday, 10:30 to midnight. We'll be back here next week. So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and hop off of the stream. Thank you guys for coming. Thank you to the people who called and also the people who asked questions in the chat because you keep this stream going. So, because without your guys' questions, the stream would not be a thing. Thank you guys for being a sub to the channel and all of that. And yeah, we'll be back same time next week. So, peace out, guys.